You lied to me? Hello, the internet. Welcome to another episode of Stories and Succulents. As you may have guessed, today we're going to be talking about this guy. So I came to learn something new about this plant recently that kind of surprised me a little bit. This plant, I've had this one since March, somewhere in March. I had one before this. I got it from Home Depot, their succulent section. I thought it was really cool because it has the red leaves on the bottom, and then as you can see, it's green on the top. And I just thought that was really cool looking, and the leaves are really nice and fleshy, and the ones at the bottom are thick, and the ones at the top are like, they start out a little thin. They look like little tacos. I mean, red and green tacos. I don't know, Christmas tacos? Anyway. And I bought the first one, and it grew really, really leggy. And it kind of started getting ugly, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to propagate it, and that way I can like kind of grow one that's more compact, give it a little bit more light. And so I pulled off a couple leaves, and the leaves just shriveled up and died. And I was like, okay, so that didn't work. And then I tried cutting off part of the plant, and wait for it to start growing roots like all of my succulents did, and that didn't happen. And so I was just kind of like, okay, maybe it's like an aloe vera or haworthia where they grow pups as opposed to, being able to be easily propagated. So I kind of left it alone for a while, and it got really, really leggy and really, really ugly, and I let it die because it was really ugly and I couldn't fix it. Anyway. Anyway, in March, I was at Williamsburg with my husband, and we went to a nursery up there, and I was walking through their nursery section, and I happened to see this plant, and I was like, oh, wow, okay, I have not seen this anywhere else since, and I really would like to try again and do a much better job with it. So, as you can see, this guy has been doing a pretty good job of growing. And the thing is, I think I've been doing a pretty good job with it. It's gotten pretty big. The thing is that I was under the impression that this was a succulent, because not only did I find it in the succulent section at Home Depot, it has the really fleshy leaves. I've been treating it like a succulent. I let the water or the soil completely dry out, and then when it starts getting a little soft, I water it. I put it under a lot of light. Doing pretty good, right? Well, I was watching a video the other day from Planting Memories, another YouTuber that I like to watch his videos, and he was going to show his peperomia collection. And I was like, oh, okay, that'll be cool. And so I start watching, and the first thing he pulls out is a smaller version of this. And I look at it, and I go, that's my plant. Why is he showing that with his Peperomia collection? And he goes on to say that this is called Peperomia Graveolens. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I looked it up on Google, and sure enough, this is the plant that showed up when I looked up that name. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? Because I could have sworn this was a succulent, and now you're telling me that this is a peperomia. Turns out it is in fact a peperomia and not a succulent at all. And so suddenly, the fact that it wasn't propagating the way that I was expecting a succulent to propagate made a lot more sense. And so today, after all of that, even though I have been growing this plant and it is beautiful the way that I've been taking care of it, like a succulent, I don't know how you're supposed to take care of peperomias, by the way. I don't have any. I've never really looked it up. So luckily it's worked for this. I guess that even if you're supposed to water peperomias a little bit more often, this has such fleshy leaves that it probably can do with being treated like a succulent. But I guess it's still a peperomia. I mean, there's a reason that they name these things. Anyway, I've decided that I am going to try and propagate it now that I know that it doesn't propagate like a succulent, it's going to propagate more like a plant. So that's what I'm going to do today. And so I am going to get somewhere that's a little bit more comfortable than right here to do that. And so I will see you in a minute. Okay, so I got my plant over here. I got my counter. And this guy has been trying to fall over for a little while. One of the other things is I put it in kind of a shallow pot because its root system was like this big. Another reason I thought it was a succulent, I guess. And so it's been kind of falling over and I haven't had another pot to put it in. Now that I have drilled those holes in those pots that I got, I now have some pots that I can put it in, but I don't want to take some cuttings off of it and then also repot it. So right now I'm just going to take the cuttings off. And so the first thing that I want to do is, and so what I'm going to do, my idea is I'm going to try and propagate it all of the ways that I know how to propagate. So I'm going to do water propagation, soil propagation, and I'm actually going to try and do a leaf propagation, which really seems stupid because these leaves are so like thick and fleshy and like unlike any leaves that I've ever seen. But I know that you can propagate peperomia like that, and so I'm actually curious to see if you can propagate like this. So I'm going to, I still haven't decided how much of my plant I want to cut off because I don't really want to cut all of it. And so I'm thinking what I might end up doing is just taking one of these and then like using some of the leaves for different types of propagation. Oh, let's see, if I do a water, soil, well, if I only do one though, it might not work. I'm debating. Okay, I'm gonna do it like this. All right, so I'm gonna cut right above the node here, close as I can get. There we go. All right, so again, these are super fleshy. You can see that. Ugh. Boop, boop, boop. Focus. So I'm gonna let them callus over for a day or so, and then I'm gonna come and cut this one, I think here. All right, like that. So I'm gonna I cut those there. I'm gonna leave this other guy here. And so what I wanna do is I wanna have some that I can do water propagation and some that I can do soil propagation and some that I can do leaf propagation. Super interesting. All right. So I guess what I'm gonna do is cut here. I'm gonna remove this leaf. All right, so that's gonna be one of the water propagations. And then I'm going to remove here, and that's gonna be the other water propagation. And then I want at least two. You know what? I could probably just pull a leaf off of the bottom of here somewhere, like this one. It's like down in the soil, so I don't think it's not gonna mess up the plant very much if I do that one there. Okay. All right. So With this, I'm going to, I still think I'm going to wait a day or two for these to callus over, because I'm worried about putting them right into the soil, but the leaves I'm not, because I know that when you propagate the leaves, you cut the little stem off and then just stick them in the soil. At least that's what I've seen. Yeah, we're gonna give it a shot. I'm not expecting it to work, but it would be really interesting if it did. So let me go get my razor blade. I'll be right back. Turns out I do not know where my razor blades are, so I got my tiny little X-Acto knife. I don't know if this is gonna do a good enough job, but we're gonna give it a shot anyway. Alright, so I am just gonna go ahead and cut the stem off of this guy, and we'll see what happens. Alright, I'll cut a little V into it. I have no idea if this is gonna work, but I have my little tray. I didn't fill it all the way up with dirt because I want it to be able to dry out pretty quickly, and this doesn't have any drainage holes or whatever, so I'm gonna stick that guy right in there, like that. And then I'm gonna cut the second leaf. Alright. Ah, pretty good job if I do say so myself. I don't know if this is gonna work. You guys might be looking at your screens going, what the heck is this woman doing? But I gotta give it a shot. Gotta give it a shot. Okay. So there, those are in there. These guys are gonna sit out, probably not here because my cats will eat them. And in a day or two, when they've calloused over, I'm gonna stick those two in water and these two in this soil here with this guy. So I will update you. I might not show when I do that, because that'll just be really quick, whatever. But I will show you in a couple of weeks what has happened, whether or not this works. If it doesn't, I still have this lovely plant, and I did look up a video. I typed into YouTube propagating this peperomia. One video came up where a lady had done this. She did the soil propagation method. She said she let them dry out. She let them callus over first and then stuck them in the soil and they rooted. Then her cat ate them. But the original plant that she had started growing from the places that she had cut off. And so she still thankfully had the plant. She didn't lose the entire thing to her cat. So the soil propagation is definitely the one that I think is going to work the best. I have no idea if these weird little, like, just the leaf cuttings are going to work, but I figure while I'm testing this, I might as well do that. And I'm really cautious about putting succulents into water, but I did recently root some of my string of bananas in water. I don't know, just because succulents are like, you don't overwater them. I feel like sticking them in water is, like, ridiculous, but this is not a succulent. It's not a succulent. Not a succulent. So we're going to try water propagation too, and I'm interested to see what happens. And if you guys are too, go ahead and subscribe. And so when the partner to this video comes up, when I've got some results or lack of results, you can see that too. And if you like this video, go ahead and like this video, because that's also cool. And I might put some updates on my Instagram. So I've got my Instagram name down here if you want to follow me on there, and then you can get some of those updates. So yeah, okay. Thank you so much, and I will see you later. All right, bye.